Hello everybody, it's Joseph again. This is video number 2 of the Securing Windows series, and this is going to be Windows 11 Domain Joined Systems must have a trusted platform module enabled. So let's go ahead and take a look at the STIG vulnerability ID that we're going to be referencing for this video. And I've got STIG Viewer open, and again I will be doing a video on STIG Viewer and SCAP Scanner at a later date. And all this will become understandable as to how you can check using automated tools, or how you can manually check. So let's go right down here. This one might take a little longer than the last one, but bear with me. So here's the rule title, what I just already said, and let's go through the discussion. So Credential Guard, and we talked about that in the first video, uses virtual-based security to protect information that can be used in credential theft attacks if compromised. There's a number of system requirements that must be met for Credential Guard to be configured and enabled properly. Without a TPM, or Trusted Platform Module, enabled and ready for use, Credential Guard keys are stored in a less secure method using software. So there's a couple things to talk about here. So again, this is another STIG that is asking the organization to implement something called Trusted Platform Module because of other reasons, right? So it's not, hey, we need you to do TPM because it's fun. They're saying that in order for Credential Guard to be configured and enabled properly, right, you have to have a TPM enabled and ready for use, because if not, they're stored using software instead of using a hardware component, to run the hashes and all that jazz. So this ties in with the very first STIG, which we talked about in our first video, which is this, Credential Guard and all that. And let's go ahead and move on down here. So how do we check? Well, it says verify that domain joined. Again, domain joined. If you don't have a domain joined system, this is not applicable, but it does not mean that you don't have to do it if you don't have a domain joined system. And I have TPM enabled on my computer, and I don't have a domain joined system. It's just my home system, but I want to be secure, so there we go. So now we have some information here. Virtualization for virtualization based security, including Credential Guard, cannot be implemented in virtual desktop implementations due to specific supporting requirements for including a TPM, UEFI with secure boot, and a capability to run Hyper-V. So this is really good information here too, because now we're looking at other components that we'll also be talking about in other STIGs that rely upon Credential Guard, VDI, UEFI with secure boot. I mean, there's other things out there that these all tie against. So this stuff isn't always easy to do, and it requires engineering efforts, rigorous engineering, understanding, and that's why, for domain joined systems with corporations and organizations, you typically hire some smart people to do this. Now there is a caveat here for virtual desktop environments where the virtual desktop instance is deleted or refreshed upon log off, right? This is not applicable. So if you say, hey, well, we have virtual desktop, I don't know, what is it called, vMotion? I don't even know what that stuff's called in VMware anymore. But refreshed upon, if the instance of the operating system is refreshed upon log off, this is not applicable. So even if you're in an organization that's enterprise and you are connected to a domain, but your virtual desktop environment goes away when you log out and is rebuilt when you log back in, then it's going to be not applicable. So again, there's layers to this that you have to pay attention to. So how can we verify the system has a trusted platform module and is ready for use? So I'm going to do this right here. So it says go into run. I'm going to type CMD because I don't know how to click a button. All I had to do was click right here, but I'm just going to write CMD and all that good stuff. You can use PowerShell if you like. All right, we're going to write tpm.msc. So this is the Microsoft console. That's what MSC is for. I'm going to hit enter, and it's prompted me because it's a privileged application. I can go ahead and close that. And this is the Microsoft console when it comes to TPM on your system. And like I said, I have it enabled on mine, so it's going to show that everything's green. It's good to go. And let's see what over here it says. Review the sections in the center pane. That's this pane right here, because you got left, right, center. Status must indicate it has been configured with a message such as the TPM is ready for use, or the TPM is on and ownership has been taken. So right here's the status. The TPM is ready for use, and there's some other stuff in here that you can look at. And it says TPM manufacturer information specific version 2.0. So in here it's saying that you have to have version 2.0 or higher, and my manufacturer version is 3.90.0.5. So for me, this is compliant, even though I'm not a domain joined system. I have it enabled. So this is just refreshing or repeating what the fixed text is, right? So let's go through this real quick. The ensure the domain systems must have a TPM that is configured for use. Versions 2.0 and above support Credential Guard. So TPM must be enabled in the firmware. So there's a couple things here. You need to have a TPM, and I'm going to show you what that is here in a second. And they're relatively cheap. But if you're going to deploy these to all your systems out there, then you pay some money. So you have to have a TPM, and then you have to take the second action of going into TPM and enable it in the firmware. So unfortunately, I'm not going to show you how to be able to enable this in the firmware because I don't have a virtual environment set up for me to boot into the BIOS. However, if you pull out your BIOS manual or you download it from your website, the PDF, it'll walk you through, and you just do a keyword search in the manual for TPM. It'll tell you exactly what you need to do to enable your TPM. Now, you're not going to see that or be able to enable on some motherboards if you don't have the actual physical component. So, all right, let's move on here to what does a TPM look like. So I've got it pulled up here. I bought this in March 18th of 2023, so about almost 9 months ago. And this is what a TPM looks like. This little chip that you insert on your motherboard. And so what you do is you power off your machine, you unplug your machine, you make sure your static protector thing is attached to your arm. Get rid of all that electricity on your computer, and then you insert this into your motherboard. When you boot up from your motherboard, you will go to F2 or F11 or whatever, get in the BIOS, and then you're going to, like I said, go into the manual, figure out where TPM is located, follow those steps, find the TPM, and enable it. It's relatively simple. I mean, this is exactly what it looks like. It's really small. And I'm not recommending this brand. I'm just saying that this is what I bought for mine. And if you're in the DoD and you go to buy these things, you need to buy TAA compliant devices. So just don't go here and start buying these for your organization. You need to go through the proper channels to buy TAA compliant items. All right. So now that you got that installed, and you boot up. Now you've met the criteria that TPM is installed and it's enabled in the firmware. That is it. There's nothing else at this point you need to do other than have that. So let's look at the control down here. So it's saying for RMF, right? So the risk management framework for DoD. Here's the CCI, and again, that's explained in the first video. I'll probably do a video for that specific later. So let's read this. So for this control, it says the information system implements a cryptographic mechanisms to prevent unauthorized disclosure of information and/or detect changes to information during transmission, unless otherwise protected by organization-defined alternative physical safeguards. So if you have organization-defined alternative physical safeguards, right, that protect or prevent unauthorized disclosure of information or detect changes, then you can use that, or you would use you go out and buy a TPM, so that way you can module, so you can make this compliant. So it's telling us that the control here is 853 Rev 4 SC8 Enhancement 1. So I'm going to pull up the RMF thing. Actually, I'm going to show you. So NIST publication 850 Rev 3 Rev 4, here it is, right? Then we're going to go straight down here to the family. So SC, family, stands for System and Communications Protection. You can ignore this right here, but this is the family of controls. And then if we go in here to the actual control number 8, so when we're dealing with TPM and this specific STIG item, this is where the information would be defined when you're trying to answer the controls in your plans, processes, policies, and procedures, right? So this is good information because you can literally copy information such as this of saying, well, we secure our systems by implementing TPM in order to protect for, you can reword this a little bit, but it's here. You don't have to rewrite stuff. Just copy it out of here and say, now we are doing this, and this is how we're doing it. Don't make stuff up. Just use what's already there. So let's go back into the pub. So the information system, here's the control. It says the information system, not the organization. The information system protects the blank confidentiality, integrity. Is it going to be both? I would say so. Oops, I don't know why I did that, but okay. Of transmitted information. So then you start reading the supplemental guidance, which give you some really good information when you're writing your plans. So this control, I'm going to try and zoom in here, applies to both internal and external networks. All right, so I'm not going to read this, but go ahead and read all that, and it gives you an idea of what what SC8, transmission confidentiality and integrity, is about. And then it said enhancement 1. So let's go to enhancement. So what are enhancements, right? Enhancements are additional, further security, technical operation, or management factors that you have to address to make the control compliant. So let's read this one. It says cryptographic or alternate physical protection. The information system implements cryptographic mechanisms to, you can select one, so you would say prevent unauthorized disclosure information. I would say yes, so I would say to that, I'd leave it there. And detect changes to information. Yep, I'd leave it there. During transmission, unless otherwise protected by, unless you got that, right? So let's read the supplemental guidance to give us a clearer understanding of what this control is trying to do. So encrypting information for transmission protects information from unauthorized disclosure and modification. Cryptographic mechanisms implemented to protect information integrity include, for example, hash functions, which have a common application in digital signatures, checksums, message authentication codes, or MACs. Alternative physical security safeguards include, for example, protected dish. Okay, so we're not even worried about that. So what you would do in here, right, is when you're doing your plans for a risk management framework and you're talking about your SC controls, specifically SC8, you're going to come down here and say, well, we implement TPM as a cryptographic mechanism to blank, 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 right? And of course, that would be for your Windows systems, at least for now, is what I'm dealing with. And that's how you're answering. You're providing specific things. And you're not going to go in here and explain, in a plan, you're not going to explain how you're doing it. You're just going to explain that, hey, our plan is to do this, and then your process procedures or your system, subsystem, design documents, or whatever other documents you're using in your organization to document the actual changes, you would put that there. But if you're talking about the steps, that would be in your configuration guides, or however you do your change management. So when you're dealing with this RMF control, again, this is going to be for SC8 enhancement 1. You would have to go out and buy, like I said, the TPM for each one of your machines, and you would have to install it and then make sure that it's there. I'm sure in the next a future video, what we're going to go through is we're going to talk about BitLocker, and BitLocker is going to rely upon a TPM. So that's going to be not too bad of one. Implementing BitLocker is not too hard. The most important thing when you're doing BitLocker is that you got to save the key that you're given. Otherwise, you'll never get into your drive again. So okay, I hope that video helps you. Here's my information. And yeah, that's it. Thanks. Subscribe, like, and give ring that bell. And I'll just keep making more of these. And feel free to ask questions. Have a good one.